Hi, everybody. Hello, Joe. Welcome, Angie. Hi, Luana, Cedric. So good to see you guys. My goodness. I am so happy to be here today. We took quite a detour, didn't we? So let me share this out, and please do share with your friends if you would like them to join. We are doing day 17 of our 30-day challenge in growing our light. And we're going to go really deep into the topic right now because this week we are dealing with some pretty amazing energy flow through the universe that will help us move through some blockages that have to do with the divine feminine. So I really want to share that with you as a practice for this week, really. And I've been getting so many messages from everyone. I want to thank you so much for your kind messages and support and just brilliant work that you've been sharing with me. So many of you that have been doing this work with me over the past couple years, and especially in this past month, have experienced incredible breakthroughs because of these meditations. And to me, it's really, it speaks to the art of us as humans, our technology, our abilities to tap into these gifts that we have. It really is something that is so amazing. Once we tune in to this very special place within the core of ourselves, this stillness, that silence, is when we are completely interconnected to all things around us. And we come into that place of incredibly powerful creation in which we can begin to manifest, heal, change our lives into something that is a creation as opposed to, again, constantly in that cause and effect where we might feel suffering and sick and stuck. So, this is where we begin to move through these things and move out of the law of accident, move out of the law of this stagnation of energy. Thank you so much. Brave Seal is here. Divine Love, thank you so much. The background is really beautiful. Caesar, so good to see you. Now, what is this background? The reason why I love using these backgrounds, something that I am incredibly fascinated with, is how we look at the microscopic level. You begin to understand how it is a mirror, it is a fractal of the greater design of our entire multiverse. And when we look at the multiverse, at the shapes of the multiverse and what it looks like, the space that makes up our universe within another sphere and in another sphere, and it's an infinitely, the design of the universe has very specific patterns, these self-similar patterns that it's expressing. And what I see is that how we can understand what that is by looking at the microscopic world. It's within the microscopic world that we can understand time and space and how things interact with one another. And it's a very interesting perspective because we can understand how things are interconnected, how things work with one another, the relationship that they have to one another. We might think when we, look in a microscope at your skin that it's this smooth texture, but when you look at it, you're looking at these incredible valleys, and crevices of your skin and the veins and the pores, and it's just an entire universe within the very microscopic cells of your body. And what fascinates me is that we see these designs inside of the networks of systems of the body, like, for example, the nervous system. We see it in how the cells are growing and forming. And I really invite you to research and take a look at what does it look like when you look at something at a microscopic level, how we are similar to so many different organisms, plants, animals, the universe, the meridian lines in the body, and the ley lines on the planet Earth, the way that energy moves through the universe. All of these spaces, they have these similar structures. And the beauty of that is understanding how we are so deeply interconnected with one another, and also in understanding how energy moves through these spaces. right? We always think that we are so disconnected from one another, but when we look down at that microscopic level, that's when you can understand the immensity of what we are. We are these incredible, immense creators. And so that's where we can tap into that kind of immense energy. So, yes, exactly, Angie. It's a web of life and connection. It really is. And learning how to navigate the movement of this energy. This is the movement of life force. Whether it's your emotional energy that's being expressed, the intention of what you're doing put into every action, the intention of healing into your body, the intention of creation that you're creating. All of these little things play a role in the role that we want to play as God creators in our life, in our relationships, in the work that we're doing, and ultimately in understanding our key participation in the creation of everything, because each one of us has a very specific signature, vibrational signature, that defines you are here and play an incredibly designed, a very complex design, that you came into your family for the purpose of either ascension or to continue cycles that have been created in this lineage. And we come into these families with that understanding that we are matching at some level with that information. A lot of my clients, they ask me, how can it be that I come into this family where there is so much chaos and I just can't understand it? I never did. I never felt like I belonged. And I always wanted to, kind of move away from that. But the truth is that at the subconscious core, there is an agreement, a contractual agreement, in order to experience that kind of contrast, in order to assist and pull forward your cells, your DNA of your body, which is that interconnected network connected to all of your ancestors, and then the collective, that your life lessons are healing those aspects. And what is healing? Healing means uniting, becoming whole. So each one of us is here on a mission to unite from separation into an understanding of interconnection. And we do that in our families through our healing, and one by one, as we heal the lineage cycles, we begin to heal the collective, because we show up with a different vibrational frequency. We show up with a different state of understanding. And that level of clarity in what you are and what you're here to do allows you to pull forward your network, all the people that live around you, just like cells, just like this little microscopic picture behind me. Those little squares are like neighborhoods, and at the center core of that is information. All of the cells that are within these little squares are matching one another, but without that matching information, they couldn't fit like a puzzle piece in the greater picture of it all. And so we are much like the same. We are always being reallocated different parts of the world. And as we move through the world, as we navigate, we are moving energy, moving information around, very necessary information that is needed for each individual to either expand, or they can also choose to contract. So that being said, I mean, the kind of information that we're moving through in our healing is just, it's very important right now. And I think a lot of you see that. A lot of you are being called to do the work. So today, what I want to talk to you about is the divine feminine. And I'm noticing, and I've noticed for several years now, that there is definitely a feminine that is rising. And what is the feminine? When we think of that, we think about maybe rioting women. But what we really want to think about is the divine feminine as a life force, as a life force. And the life force of the divine feminine is really that intuition. It is the creative. It is the nurturer. It is that mother role that is within all humans, whether you are a man or a woman, or any kind of being on this earth, embodies both of those dualistic aspects to themselves. They have the masculine and the feminine. And so for many years, it's the masculine, it's that movement, it's that progression, that evolution that we've had since the time of the Industrial Revolution and before that. I mean, everything's been moving so quickly in order to build, create, and do all these things as we push forward in action, in building things. But there's that missing element of the intuitive, the Divine Mother, to come into that growth and provide a clarity of direction. And that clarity of direction is one that is very aware of the collective well being, not just the individual self serving. So that's what happens when we are imbalanced in either of those energies, that we are either self serving or we neglect to see the whole picture. We only see part of the picture. So the divine feminine is really that intuitive aspect. So anything that has to do with intuition, whether it's technology and the technology of the human, whether it's nature, whether it's the well-being of mankind on the planet and the systems of our food, politics, financial systems, all of these systems, everything is moving towards a more virtual platform. And therefore, the connection, the communication with those platforms is also changing. And instead of having a direct connection with one another, it is having to be now this virtual connection. And so this is kind of like the beginning of the next era in which we're coming into a new technology of having to communicate with one another in a telepathic manner. We're having to upgrade the DNA to activate the intuition and all of the facets of intuition, all the departments of the intuition that manage the physical body. Because just the way in technology we are going into artificial intelligence, our human body is also evolving in that way. We become more intuitive. We're becoming more intuitive for many reasons because of technology and because of the connection that it provides us to one another. And it's just the awareness of that connection. It was always there, but it allows us to understand how incredibly interconnected we are to one another. And so when we're healing the divine feminine, our ability to train ourselves in our intuition and to nurture all the parts of us that are fearful of coming into that intuition, because what is needed for that intuition? It is a surrender, a complete surrender. It's moving out of that control mindset that is very much active in the past 20, 50 years, having to control societies, people, minds, ideals, belief systems, all being heavily, heavily controlled, put into little boxes, compartmentalized, separation. And so now we are looking at things moving out of that into the unity. And what is the unity? The unity is the whole. And when you remove that aspect of control, you begin to come into a certain surrender, a more flow, a movement. And so this is what's needed in all of these different areas for them to become healthy again, for them to be no longer self-serving, but something that is constructive and productive for all living beings. And that's a completely different way of doing business and being and interacting with one another. So these things have to shift. They must shift coming into these next few years. And we participate in that. We participate in that in the inner work that we do, because it's within ourselves. Again, as I mentioned, these microscopic little micro cities of infinities, well, that's what we are. We are the universe. The universe is within our body. Within every cell is you. And within every cell in your body is myself. And so when we do healing, when we begin to do reintegration healing, this is when we begin to unify those gaps. How do you unify gaps? It's by awareness. Simply by becoming aware of parts of your body, you awaken darkened areas of your universe, areas that have been neglected. And so in the leg, in the toes, in the arms, in the hands, which we sometimes completely forget about the body, is all the information that we need to know. And it's not just information about your emotional self, but we're looking at information of the collective. We are learning about what's going on in the collective, because the body, the physical body, is a guide map to the earth as well. And it is a fractal of the layout of the planet Earth, just the way we have meridians in the body. The planet Earth has its own meridians, and every single part of the world has specific information. Okay? And so, what's really interesting about that is that it allows us to begin to heal not just the physical ailments. Whatever's happening physically in the body is a result of cyclical patterns that are specific to your lineage. But there's several nucleuses of families around the world that have the same programs, right? So as we heal this, we begin to heal our family members. So this is how we begin to unite as one. And we begin to open up the higher levels of the mind, the heart, the throat, the third eye, where we enter into this incredible electromagnetic field, this bioelectric field, the quantum field in which we are all interconnected. And it's in that interconnected realm that we have access to infinite information. The more that we come into that stillness, the more that we begin to allow that surrender of that divine aspect of ourselves, a feminine creation, we can begin to tap into infinite amounts of information. There's no limit. You will know everything. And there are many sages historically and people that have reached these points through meditation, through deprogramming of all of the limiting beliefs that allow them to embody this balanced self. So this is what we're working on, and it's one of the key elements in helping us begin to move out of the limitations of the mind and body into a more fluid, straight, expansive creation. And we need each and every one of you to come into that space because it raises the collective vibrational frequency. Just the way you have a vibrational signature, your crown color, that identifies your journey, your success, and your evolution as a soul, we as a collective have a vibrational signature on this planet Earth. And depending on which area of that scale we are most vibrating at, whether we are in the lower roots chakras, in fear and survival, or whether we are in the higher levels of manifestation, unity, and consciousness, this mindful action, we change the timelines that we experience collectively on this planet Earth. And it's very important because all of these different agendas in the universe of other species, other beings, our interdimensionals, extraterrestrial beings that are here interacting with us, you know, they've gone through many layers of this kind of programming. They work on different dimensional planes in which they are navigating a lot of these ascensions at a different level. And so our ability to once again wake up and unite ourselves with those aspects of ourselves is only going to occur by raising the vibration. And you raise the vibration by deprogramming your DNA, by activating the DNA, deprogramming the false, the limited, and activating the expansive, the true. What is true? True is what is most in balance, what is true for everything, not just one. That is what is true. What's true is what's true for all. And so there might be many perspectives and many ways to look at things, but being in that center point where you're not married or holding on to something, any one idea, any one perspective, allows you to come in. That is the embodiment of that divine feminine creation that is necessary. So this is where we need to help the self, because coming into the unknown, obviously, is very challenging sometimes. It's very challenging to surrender. It's difficult to surrender when we are dealt with so much contrast in the world, with so much resistance and so many things that cause us internal conflict, where we feel, you know, things are not right. But we need to remember the things that distract away from what is true. Anything that brings you into a state of fear, feeling of helplessness, is a perfect state for control. And so we have to make a choice if we want to continue being in a state of being controlled by that fear, being very open to that control, or if we're ready to really, put our self together and become a creator. And our thoughts and our emotions play an incredible, incredible role in that. Okay? So, in today's practice, I want to focus on looking at our divine feminine. And man or woman, we need to look at the divine feminine part of us, the wounded parts of the feminine, the parts of the feminine that we don't feel safe. We don't trust the feminine, whether it's the representation of the mother, whether it's a partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's ourselves, the feminine of ourselves. All of those ranges in that spectrum of the feminine and the many roles that they play in our lives, we need to look at what role they have for us. How do we perceive that? How do we interact with it? And how can we begin to heal the wounded parts that have dealt with the feminine in an imbalanced manner in order to become whole again? Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on today. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. RR2, so good to see you here. Everything Truth, blessing, so good to see you. Cynthia, much love. Kalem, Ariel, so good to see you. Tiffany Lanham, yes. Ondikami, blessed evening to all. Cynthia, just wondering if you can provide your understanding of the numeric synchronicities that many are seeing. Absolutely. We'll talk about that right now. Zaza says, evening. So good to see you. Sean, like socialism or communism? It's many names to many different ways of control, right? There's just systematic controls and belief systems. RR2, last few days, um, the feminine, I guess the feminine part in me has barked at media in the comments. I know it's not right, but I call it tough love. That's okay. It's good to speak your truth, RR2. Pono says, you can hold us if you want. Beautiful Pono, thank you for being here. It's such a gift to see you guys. I really love you so much, and I appreciate your patience. My computer overheated and just kaput, so it was very difficult to get back online, and also installing some new softwares and some new little adjustments, which I think are doing great. So let's talk about synchronicities, the numeric synchronicities. You know, we might think that this is something new, but I think historically, numerology, if we study the Kabbalah, if we study the ancient scriptures on numbers, have always been a language of the universe, okay? Because numbers help us understand vibrational frequency. They help us read it. They help us categorize it, understand how to organize vibrational frequency. And so every number is an important information that helps us understand where we're at. And every single number has a meaning. It has a meaning from 1 to, whatever number, usually it's 1 to 9. And then, the combinations, the many combinations of those numbers. And so what we begin to see when we're in our awakening process is the numbers. And what's happening is that the higher self, because remember that we are one with everything and that everything begins and ends with us. So our higher self begins to give us little clues within the within the world. And one of the most important things in your journey is to pay attention to everything. Because when you're waking up, and this is a practice of mindfulness, when you begin to become aware of yourself, you begin to notice in stillness many more details about your environment, about yourself, that you have not noticed before. And in those details, you will notice that everything has a place, everything has a role, there is a message. And when those things move out of that place somehow, there's something being communicated there. The way that our environment actually looks is little threads of information. We are literally moving through threads. There's threads of information that run through the body and they connect with the meridian lines of the body. But every single thread that is around us, we are in this field of threads of information. When they change somehow, they are moving information. So everything matters. Even a little speck of dust that runs through the camera is something. It's a communication for something, for someone. And we need to understand that this communication with the world, including these numbers, animals, birds, insects, whatever it is that you're seeing and catches your attention, is meant to remind you something. And so the numerology either 1 through 9. Each one of the numbers represents everything. One, like beginnings, for example, entryways, ascension, the beginning of ascension, the beginning of awakening. 2 is the balance, the duality, and these are very, I'm giving you very simplistic overviews. They're very profound things that you need to take time to study, because there's many meanings to numbers, and there's also many schools of thoughts about numbers. I like to look at looking at the Kabbalah and some of more ancient descriptions of the numbers, and intuitively what they mean to me as well. So I invite you to do that. But when you look at these numbers, like 2, it represents duality, for example. Okay, balance. 3 is a very powerful number. It represents the divine Trinity, the matrix, this creation. 4 represents the practical application of spirituality, the practicality, that practical application. So if you see 444 everywhere or 111 everywhere, it's kind of telling you, pay attention. Pay attention. What are you doing? Are you entering into something? It's a moment to make a choice. Okay, if you see 333 everywhere, like for example, when I had my contact experience, the time was 333. I mean, it's like the most manifestation, the greatest awakening. It is, and that's a very powerful number historically, all the way back to the story of Jesus and many other stories where 333 or 33 were divine master numbers, right? They represent the master. 555 means change, transformation. Okay, 666 represents death, the cycle of rebirth, regeneration, right? 7, you're going into the spiritual realm, the angelic realm. 8, infinity, right? The natural laws of infinity, of creation, of that infinite consciousness, the highest levels. 999 is one of the highest levels of spirituality. And it really represents the embodiment of the higher self in the physical. So you kind of begin to look at some of these numbers, and they really tell us a little bit about our journey and where we're at. And they're little keys that the universe is working. Remember, just like my background, we are an interconnected network of many universes, and they're all intercommunicating with one another. Our experience is just one of an interconnection, and everything's communicating. Everything is in divine order. That's why the less we stress and fear the unknown, really, there is nothing unknown. We just have to remember that being in that moment of like almost feeling like we're in the unknown is something we need to become comfortable with very quickly. Okay. So I also want to, I'm very excited to talk about a conference that I'm putting on, and it's very dear to my heart. It's my little baby. It's called the Wisdom Con, and it's at the end of this month. So I really invite all of you, please register, sign up. You can either donate. I think it's $50 for the 3 days, or you can go for free. So please join us. We have incredible speakers that are going to be there, and they are all people that I have literally worked with. I know them. It's not just random people that is being chosen. They're very carefully chosen because of their messages, the work that they do, and the integrity that they have in sharing the information. So I'm just very happy. And I mean, one of our speakers, I have Jeff Granville. I have Neil Gower, who is the owner of Portal to Ascension, which is another incredible conference series. Trisha Marges, Sonia Barrett, Joan Staffen, Bobby Vasquez, Jahan Karamzadeh, Eloise Surfreet, Karen Swain, Preston Dennett, James Rink, Tanya Castillo, Joanne Richards, Suzanne Ross, Alan Steinfeld, Zane Daniel, Miguel Mendonça, Andrew Rodowitz. I have Jill Stein, I have Rachel Cooley, and I have Matthew Mornian. So, I mean, and I also have Kathleen Zemansky. So it's going to be a full house. We have some really incredible people that are coming here. And I'm also going to be presenting a conference in Spanish coming up soon. So I haven't put anything out about that yet, but for you Spanish speakers, my Spanish community, please get ready for that, because it's time for all of us again to unite in this information, and we want to reach as many as are looking for this. Shout out to Mama Ren, so good to see you. One Love, thank you for being here. Bonnie Vargas, love you too. Andrea Louie. Oh my gosh, I did a interview collaboration with Andrea Louie channel. It's called Canal de Misterios. It's in Spanish, but he does this incredible YouTube channel where he talks about some really interesting. He's amazing researcher on ufology and paranormal things, and he's amazing. So mucho gusto. Gracias por estar aquí, André. We're going to be talking about some great stuff. He's going to be posting an interview that we did pretty soon, so keep out for that one. Keep a lookout. All right, so without further ado, my loves, let's get started. I want everyone to get really nice and comfortable. We're going to start by grounding ourselves down to the center of the earth. And in this moment, just taking a moment to listen to your breath as you inhale deeply and exhale. With every breath you take, allowing yourself to go deeper and deeper into a state of complete relaxation. And you're going to visualize your protective field around your body, just becoming aware of your energetic field. How far out does it extend? How are we doing in our energetic field? Okay, checking the back of our body, making sure there are no openings, clearing the back, the front, underneath the body, above the body. Becoming very aware of your energetic field that extends around you. Very good. We're going to start grounding ourselves. So go ahead and embody yourself fully. Bring all your thoughts into the present moment, from the past or the future into the now. And go ahead and anchor yourself at the center of the earth, visualizing sending down a connection that connects to your body right here underneath the breastline or underneath the armpits, the waist, the hips, the pelvic bone, all the way down to the center of the earth, and anchor yourself. Okay, we're going to start by closing the first chakra. So go ahead and focus on the root, the base of the spine. It's a double-sided vortex connected to the spine. And you're going to visualize gently closing it down, just with your imagination, with your mind. Imagine that you are shrinking that down to the size of a dime, disconnecting any imbalance in the root chakra. Breathing deeply, mindfully, observing the body, observing the entire body as a whole, from the base of your feet to the crown of your head, the back of your body, the front of your abdomen and your chest, feeling the body as you close the first chakra. And you're going to feel just all of that energy just kind of calming down, any kind of intensities, any anxieties. Anytime we feel fearful, we can close this chakra. Going up to the sacral, underneath the navel, go ahead and visualize closing that chakra all the way down to the size of a dime, disconnecting any imbalance of the sacral chakra. Okay. You're going to go up to the solar plexus at the center core. Go ahead and visualize closing that chakra all the way down to the size of a dime, disconnecting any imbalance of the solar plexus. That's the emotional body. So just noticing any emotions that we felt over the past couple weeks, any heaviness. Go ahead and removing any of that heaviness out, bringing yourself back into a state of neutrality. You're going to go up to the heart chakra. Go ahead and expand that light as wide as possible, front and back, activating the heart center, opening the center of unconditional love, of truth. Feeling safe, feeling protected. Going up to the throat, and we're going to do the same. You're going to open that throat chakra, front and back, opening the center of communication, of expression. You're going to go up to the third eye. You're going to open that third eye chakra as wide as possible, front and back, opening the center of intuition. Okay, now you're going to go up to your crown chakra, breathing deeply. Go ahead and check in with your crown. How's it doing? Have you been practicing GPAC? Have you been activating and actively and consciously, intentionally creating your day? So go ahead and see what your color is, your highest vibrational frequency, and you're going to put it up into the crown. Activate the crown. Okay, very good. So now that you're here, you're going to be breathing deeply. And we're going to begin by pulling in a very healing color. So as you're here, I want you to select a color that represents the most healing for you. When we do heavy healing work, such as the work that we're going to do right now, it's advisable to use a color that will help heal the body, to help support you in this work, so that we don't feel overwhelmed by emotions or disconnected from our core. So from the center of the earth, go ahead and visualize a powerful wave of the color that is healing for you up into the solar plexus. Visualize moving that energy all around you, rotating around the entire body. Breathing deeply. Okay. From the universe, from source, go ahead and visualize bringing down gold cosmic energy that comes down to the crown of the head, combining with this healing energy. Combine cosmic and your healing energy at the center of your body as it rotates all around the multidimensional field. Go ahead and send 10% of that back down to the center of the earth, eliminating everything that we're healing from the body out, everything that no longer serves us in the multidimensional field, all the debris that you've picked up. Go ahead and send it back down to the center of the earth. Let it out. And the earth, like a recycling mechanism, transforms that death into life. Pure life force out of the body. And at the same time, you are healing the earth. Okay, go back to your solar plexus. Take 80% of that, shoot it up your spine, and from the crown of your head, go ahead and coat the outside of your body. As you visualize clearing any kind of attachments that are parasitic or unconsciously created with the matrix or this holographic illusion that we're co-creating, go ahead and visualize clearing any of those cords. Notice around your body where you feel that there's dense energy, and you're just going to gently disconnect from all of that. Okay? And as you do that, go ahead and call back your life force into the body, breathing deeply, re-energizing, recentering yourself. And we begin to feel a little more energized, more present, more and more present as you do this work. Okay, very good. So this is called running energy. The final part of it is we're going to take that final 10% and we're going to bring it into the body now. So go ahead and pull that up your spine, and you can visualize from your hands, you're going to feed it inside of the sphere, the protection that you made for yourself. And go ahead and see that energy penetrating into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level of your body, really feeding and healing into the body. And with every breath you take, as you inhale, you're pulling that energy into the cells, healing the body, regenerating, restoring. Breathing deeply. Your breath is very important in this moment. It is the breath of mindful observation. And the intention behind it is healing, is reconnection to everything that we are. Very good. So now that you're here, I want you to sit in this stillness, running the energy, really feeling the energy run through the body. Okay, it's going through the 3 dimensions of the body, internally, externally, and we're eliminating what doesn't serve us. So now that you're here, I want you to tune in to the part of us that is fearful of that vulnerability. Any part of us that fears that it cannot surrender. The one that wants to control. Go ahead and see in yourself as you begin to search energetically for that signature in the body that is usually lingering quite at the surface of our experience. Go ahead and find the part of us that is still feeling fearful of surrender in any way, whether it has to do with ourself, with others, intimate relationships, creating something, going for our dream career, changing our life, being more spiritual, being more mindful. Maybe it's dealing with a difficult relationship. What part of us is afraid of coming into that surrender? Go ahead and tune into that part of you. And I want you to sit with that part of you. You're going to begin to get some memories, maybe some visuals of events that have occurred where this feeling has come up in your life. Just observe them and watch them. And begin to observe yourself in those scenarios. Just watching what's happening with ourselves in that moment. First of all, what is it that triggers that emotion to begin with? Okay. And I want you to tune in to the feeling the sensation in the physical body. Some of you might feel it more in the body. Some of you might hear something. Some of you might see something. So use your language, your energetic language, to identify the information. As you tune into that emotion, how does it make you feel? Go ahead and sit with that emotion and begin to name out the emotions that come up. It's that moment of being fearful of going into a surrender, that moment that we are resisting, we are needing to control. What's happening there? Take a look at that. What are we afraid of? Ask yourself. And keep it short and simple. Don't get lost into the stories of what's occurring. Just answer the question simply. And usually the first answer is the intuitive answer. That's the one we want to trust and utilize. So as you see that emotion, that reason, begin to observe yourself in that thought. Why do we feel this way? Go ahead and connect with yourself. Why is yourself feeling this way? Okay. Go ahead and notice the emotions that come up. A lot of times they will come up here in the belly area. So go ahead and notice, or the lower back, or the lower selves, even the sexual organs. Go ahead and notice what part of the body is triggered by that emotion, okay? And focus on that part of the body. And I want you to take yourself back to that sensation that is there in that part of the body, to the very first time that you felt this emotion. Take yourself back. And it can be this lifetime, it can be another lifetime. Allow yourself to go as far back as you need to go. Take yourself there. Breathing deeply. What do you see? What comes up for you? We are looking for the part of us that is fearful of surrender. So take a look at that. It can be this lifetime or another lifetime. Okay. And as you begin to pull up and begin to kind of tune into the clarity of what you're seeing here, notice the emotions that are in the space. How does it feel to be here? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel uncomfortable? Does it feel fearful? Does it feel happy? What are you feeling in that space around you? And I want you to focus on the self in that experience, in that environment. What is the self feeling in that moment? Notice that. Okay. So go ahead and see that part of you as you begin to look more closely at yourself in this scenario. Take a look at yourself. You might be a child in this lifetime, or you might be another person in another lifetime. Just look at yourself, and I want you to look in your own eyes as you begin to observe your face. If you can't see clearly the face, I want you to tune into the energy of this self, of yourself. And as you tune in, what is being expressed? What is being felt? What are they feeling? What are they struggling with in that moment? Okay, who participated in creating this struggle in that moment? Notice that. Is it somebody that's close to us? Somebody we don't know? Was it a man? Was it a woman? Just notice that. Okay, and as you take a look at yourself, and the other. Why is this dynamic happening? I want you to shine your crown light on top of this other person, and you're going to see a contract before you. Go ahead and take a look at that contract, and I want you to intuitively read what that contract has to say about this exchange. What is the lesson being learned here? And notice how far back this program goes that's being shared here with this being that you're interacting with. Is this something that goes back in your ancestral lineage, or does it go even further to the origin of time, to the origin of life? Take a look at that. How far back does it go? And what is your role in this lesson? What are you here to do? Okay. As you begin to identify your role, you're going to begin to see all of the ancestors come before you. All the ancestors that have dealt with this program previously, that fear of coming into surrender, the fear of the intuition, the fear of not having to control the self or others. You begin to see all of your ancestors here, and you're going to see ancestors from your father's side and your mother's side. Anyone that you were interacting with, these are all people that we've interacted with previously. They are fragments of ourselves. So as you see them in a crowd, I want you to tune in to them, feel them energetically. Why do they continue to believe this? What is the limiting belief that keeps them stuck in this belief system of not feeling safe in any kind of state of vulnerability? Notice that. What is needed to transform this idea into something more productive? Notice that. And so at this moment, what you're doing, what you've done is that you are expanding your light because you are broadening your perspective. You are looking not just at yourself and your perspective, but you're looking at the collective perspective. And this is why when we don't do this work, we continue to run in these cyclical patterns. These patterns are what tie us deeper and deeper, ingrained into a karmic cyclical interaction of life. And so, in order to wake up and become free from these limiting beliefs, we need to get to the root core. We need to work with all our fragments that unite us collectively in that same thought form, which is an untruth, as you can see. It is an inverted truth. It is a distortion of the truth because it's incomplete. It's only looking at one perspective. And so as you begin to assist these selves in identifying themselves as the opposite of that limitation of being in control and or being more expansive, we begin to educate not just ourselves in this process, but all our parts of us. So go ahead and give all those parts everything that they need in order to feel safe in that surrender, in that divine feminine. And you will begin to understand now and a more clear depiction of what the divine feminine is. Notice how it feels nurturing. Notice how it feels safe. Notice how the divine feminine is fluid. It is not stagnation. It is not choppy actions, feelings, emotions that are based in mistrust, in fear, in doubt. So as all of that begins to melt away from your fragments, I want you to find in you all of those belief systems of doubt, of fear, of stagnation, of limitation, of needing to control, the inversions of the divine feminine that are within. Very good. So heal those parts. Okay? As you begin to see them, they will unify into one light and they will begin to ascend. This is the natural function of how our fragments become one. When something changes frequency, it ascends, it goes up. Okay, this is in the time space where we perceive things as going up, but what's happening is that the vibration is becoming higher and therefore it rises, it changes. It's no longer in the lower three-dimensional plane for us to experience it. It begins to rise. And so this is how we also reintegrate ourselves. So go ahead and inhale deeply, taking back your life force into the body and release anything that you took on. Okay, I want you to see all of your fragments throughout your life, the parts of us that are fearful of surrender, fearful of coming into any kind of intimacy, any place that is vulnerable. Take a look at all of the parts of you from birth, from the womb until now, that are fearful of this vulnerability. Take a look at them. And sometimes this vulnerability has been very powerful over the past couple years. So take a look at all of the parts of you that have felt so fearful in the past year, yesterday, today. What's the belief system behind this fear? Why do we fear vulnerability? Take a moment to observe that. Who is the one that will help us feel safe in vulnerability? Is it someone external or someone internal? Notice how we are all humans learning how to navigate this vulnerability. And therefore, we cannot depend on someone externally to provide us with this. So the most compassionate, the most conscious, the most good for the whole would be to embody your own ability, to be a master of your own needs, to help those needs be met internally. So take a look at that deep-rooted fear within the self, within all yourselves, and give yourself the opposite of that fear. Allow the aspects, the fragments of ourselves to feel safe in vulnerability. And what you'll notice is that what's needed is that connection to the source. Right? It's the acknowledgement that we are one, that we are not alone, that we are not helpless, that we are not vulnerable and suffering. We are actually perfectly have everything that we need in this moment, in this body, in this now, in that presence that is available to you instantaneously. So allow yourself to feel that as you ground yourself into the moment. As you see all of your fragments healing, merging into one, I want you to see the self in front of you that you've healed. This is your divine feminine. Whether you're a man or a woman, you will see yourself there. This is the depiction of the divine feminine. I want you to notice, what does it look like? Observe it. How does it behave in the world? How does it interact in the world? How does it feel when it's put into those very vulnerable opportunities, those experiences again? If you reinsert them back into your day, how would they have dealt with that trying moment? This is how we teach ourselves. We become our own mother. And here you have become the mother. The representation of the mother is the one that is nurturing, that is protective of the self. So I want you to feel this nurturing towards your body, towards yourself. And if you must, I want you to embrace yourself. And for a moment, feel that divine motherly affection, nurturing, protection towards the self in this moment. And as you feel that feeling in your body, all of the fears begin to dispel down to the cellular level of the body as you become this protector. This is divine feminine. As it nurtures, it provides a strong foundation for which the organism can now navigate. It trusts itself. It trusts itself and therefore can trust everything outside, because nothing out from outside is given. Everything is from within. So as you see yourself, embracing yourself, feeling this love, this nurturing towards the self, we have become the true mother from which nature tries to depict, right? But our own mother in our life, maybe she was not able to provide us with this understanding because she herself may not have had that nurturing. Or the father who played the role of the mother sometimes, he himself may not have had that kind of nurturing. How many of us miss this nurturing, this infinite protection, this strength? This is what's needed in our clear understanding as we rise into this feminine, into the future. And our children need to understand this. They need to feel this from us as mothers, as fathers, that nurturing. Notice how safe you feel, how secure, how happy. Now the joy can come in because there is no more fear. Okay? So we're going to start working with the root chakra. Go ahead and take this fragment of yourself and you're going to inhale it deeply, reintegrating into the body as you become one with that self. Okay, we are mothering ourselves through our fears, mothering ourselves through the parts of us that we reject, that we hate. We begin to let us know that we are safe, that we are divine, that we are pure, that we are whole, that we are complete. Okay. And you're working with the root chakra. Go ahead and open that root chakra up and you're going to spin it as fast as possible. Go ahead and eliminate all of the fears, the parts of us that didn't have that maternal protection, maternal love, maternal nurturing. Give that to that safety. Create the house in which you live in, where the mother and the father live in harmony. You are that mother and that father in harmony. This is your house. So we create our own family within. Okay. You're going to go up to the sacral. So in the relationships where we looked for the partner, looking for that divine connection, looking for that protection. Women may be looking for the protection from the father that was missing. Men looking for the nurturing from the mother that's missing. Okay, or vice versa, either way. In the sacral, all the exchanges with one another, the fear of intimacy, fear of vulnerability, clear all of those fears out of the sacral chakra, affecting the sexual organs, affecting our ability to create, to manifest, to bring money, abundance, the exchange energy, right? So oftentimes we haven't had this security and trust in the self, and so we're afraid of receiving or we're afraid of giving. So clear all of those blockages out. Clear them out of the sacral. Inhale deeply golden light into that sacral chakra as it begins to eliminate all those fears. Okay, going up into the solar plexus, the emotional body. Where have we tried to manipulate someone into giving us something? This is the inversion of the divine feminine, right? Try to control something, whether in our relationships, emotionally, business. And that's because we lack an understanding that we are the providers of ourselves. Once again, clear all of those heavy emotions, any anger around the feeling that there was no mother, there was no divine protection, nurturing. Clear that out. Clear that out. Okay. Going up into the heart now. Spinning it as fast as possible, eliminating any blockage in the heart, the one that allows the connection to the all. This is the most important, the divine feminine, that intuitive connection to the all. When this is blocked, we have nothing. We have nothing because we don't believe in that connection to the all. We are blocked from seeing ourselves as a whole, as a universe. So clear all of that out as you embody yourself interconnected. See yourself as one light of many in the organism. Just like my background, on every single center core of these little squares is the same similar structure. It's an infinite pattern of constant creation. You're going to go up to the throat, spin it as fast as possible. Communication. Where do we yell to get to be heard? Express aggressively because we are feeling that coming into a vulnerable state or a nurturing or a soft state will be trampled on or disrespected, right? And so we compromise ourselves, we give away our power, our energy in these exchanges without knowing that we are good, we are heard, and that our voice is heard when it needs to be heard in that time. It's a balance. And this is also the center of feminine and masculine energy. So where are those aspects imbalanced? Clearing all of those out. Breathing deeply. Going up into the third eye, our intuition. This is the mother seed of creation, right? The crown and the third eye. When these are blocked, we feel disconnected, we feel lost, we don't know what to do, we don't trust anyone, we hate ourselves, right? So, but that's okay. So let's mother that part of us, clear out all of those parts that don't trust yourself. Okay, so all of that mistrust in the self that has been growing within us since the moment someone said, shh, you're not allowed to talk, or don't say that, or don't behave like this, or don't look like that, don't, whatever it is that was limiting in our expression without a clear understanding of why, a clear instruction as to another way, right? It left us confused and it made us feel that we were wrong or incapable. So what does your inner child need in order to trust the self profoundly, right? Surrender to that intuition and flow by that intuition. Okay, clearing that out, going up into the crown now, we're going up into the creation, manifestation. Where do we feel that we are incapable of creating, manifesting, not good enough, limited, blocked? Okay, become the mother. The mother of the universe is the creation. From her womb, she gives life to all. And it's infinite. It's an infinite source. So when we understand our infinity as this mother, father, we can now create anything we want. That's what we're here to do. We're here to create absolutely everything that we want. And we can do that in relationships. We can do that in careers. We can do that in the world. Okay, and that's what we're here to do. We need to come into that energy right now. So as you begin to clear that out, notice how your inner light grows inside of you. It expands because now we know truth. We've now become acquainted with what is truth. It's this infinite creation that we are made out of. And we begin to feel at home because we are home. This is home. If you're here in this body and this earth, tuning into this anywhere, you are here because this is your home. Your entire universe is the playground of creation. And this is just one little sector of that playground. So, as you begin to bring yourself back into the room and open your eyes, you are grounded down. I want you to activate the 9th chakra with your eyes open. Okay, going up to the 9th. This is the 9th dimensional plane. The 10th, activate it with your eyes open. Fill it in with your creative color. The crown color, you're going to put it into the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th. Activate all the way up. Okay? Waking up. We are waking up on the highest level. We are bringing and integrating the higher self into the physical. The time is now. So as you begin to connect up to source and you recognize your light that you always are, good morning, welcome back. You're going to embrace this and remember what this feels like and take this in your day, whatever you're doing, and embody that surrender. Okay. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining me. What a beautiful gift it is to see you. Thank you for the work that you're doing here. I want to thank all of you for being here. You guys are incredible. Um, let's go to Sean. Hey, Sean. Luana, we love and understand you. Thank you so much, Luana. Love you. Love you so much. Check out Luana's work. She's a hypnotherapist and she's incredible. I've had the pleasure, the great pleasure of working with her, and we did a hypnotherapy with her. So check her out. I've been having a slew of numbers every day. Me too. Me too. I'm so happy to hear that. Pono says, we like 9. It's part of the toroidal vortex in mathematical vortices of this electromagnetic holographic entities we have. So we must encounter entities, I suppose. But yeah, the ninth is an incredibly powerful dimension. Mama says, we love you too, Mama Ren. One love. Bonnie says, love you too. Andre, so good. Thank you so much for tuning in. Gracias por entrar, Andre. CK says, oh my God, Geraldine, I literally just watched one of your sessions with Alba. Cool. Thank you. Let me know what you think about it, CK. I'm so happy that you were able to see that. Mama Ren says, okay, I was thinking about her today too. Oh, oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much, Mama Ren. Cynthia says, thank you. Thanks a million for all that you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this. Anushi, so good to see you. Much love, Anushi. Lisa David says, thank you for bringing us into focus on earth. Our mission is to become the beautiful best self as we shine and reflect upon divine energy on all things. Yes, yes. Thank you for that. Divine says, thank you so much for helping us all. I'm so grateful, sending so much love. Thank you, Divine Love. You guys, thank you, Pono. Luana, much love. Johnny Spa, so good. Bonnie Vargas says, this was amazing. Truth Within, so grateful. You guys, thank you. Thank you. You know, I feel so much love for you and the work that you're doing. And just, you know, so grateful, you guys, for you. And any questions that you have, please put them down below. You guys really, you know, keep me going and keep me focused on what's important here in this work. And I'm so glad that we finally were able to get back on. I will be here for the rest of the 30 days. So please tune in tomorrow as we get back into it. In the 30 days, I'm hoping that in the past couple of weeks when I was unable to do the videos, you were able to revisit some of the older videos. I know some of you have. And kind of worked on that. So let me know how it was for you. What have you discovered in your healing? What do you need help with? Put it down in the message below so that I can be of service to you. But from now until the next, what is it? To the 30th day, right now we're on 17, we're going to be looking at how the deeper aspects of connecting to the higher self and growing the light. This is a daily thing, my loves. So every day meditate, every day take time to activate that. Gertrude, thank you so much. Odikami, thank you. Thank you for being here. So much colors and light. Nikita Hart, thank you. Bonnie Vargas, are you sending us your link to the conference? Oh yeah, let me put that down below. If you guys go to, let me put it in the chat right now. You guys can check it out. Please register, guys. It's going to be an incredible conference, and it's wisdomcon.com. It was a lot of work putting together and really getting all of these incredible speakers together, you know. But the beautiful thing is that we all have the same focus. You know, our focus is to bring education to everyone for the next step. And I can't wait to share with you. I'm going to post a video of an interview I did with one of them today next. So as soon as this is up, I'm going to go ahead and post that for you guys. Love you with all my heart. See you September 24th to the 26th at WisdomCon virtual conference. The cool thing about this conference, the unique thing, is like a 3-day weekend that you're literally paying either $50 or nothing for. And it's going to be a lecture, workshop, lecture, workshop. Okay, so because when I go to conferences and I just sit there, it's great. and you're so fired up, but then it's like you come back to your daily life and it's like you forget, because you sometimes lack the key that links the information to the physical. So I want this to be, I'm a practical person when it comes to spirituality. I want to practice it, embody it, understand it from the inside out so that I can digest it properly. Um, and this is what this conference is about. It is practice so that you can learn what you just talked about. It's not just some abstract idea, it's something that you can actually exercise and do it throughout the weekend. So all of my speakers, or most of my speakers, have put together workshops to help you embody what they're talking about. Okay? All right. So I can't wait to see you and have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow. Love you. Bye-bye.